2020. The label started with no money and no big cosign. Literally just passion, faith, a yearning to deliver a message, and an urgency to impact our city. All we have is all we need was our big mantra and continues to be our deciding factor to pursue and steward our lane in this industry. Bluswitch, where we are about making music with a purpose, living intentionally and loving unconditionally.
Let me do a quick formal introduction of who you see here. Let me start off with Joshua.
What's up, people?
Joshua Tapia. He's married. He is a writer and a producer for the Bluswitch team, and he's also what I call like a CRO, like a chief relations type of thing, right?
I'm not Croatian though, because that's CRO. You know what I'm saying? And I'm Argentine. Yeah.
Sick, man.
But yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
So like, he handles a lot of like the relationship stuff. So like, if you've been signed, or you're going to be signed, or you one day want to have hopes of being signed, this is the guy that you first go through. And to my left, we have Christian.
Yo.
Christian's a producer / recording / audio engineer. So he does a lot.
Bro. Hey, thank you for having me, bro.
We should probably say that they should give us a little bit of a leeway, because this is our first podcast. We might be a little nervous, a little shy, but I think we're gonna get the flow of it.
Ain't nobody nervous here, bro.
Right, today, I want to talk about. I think it's the start of a new year. Happy New Year to everybody who's watching.
Happy New Year.
New Year's.
If you're watching this at a later date, Happy New Year.
Happy
as well.
2025.
happy whatever month you're at. So one of the things that at the beginning of the year, there's this like there's this motivation, there's this factor, this element at the start of every new year where people want to set new goals, they want to try new things, maybe they want to lose weight, maybe they want to do something, right? So the podcast is one of those that where like we had been feeling it to do it for a while, and now we're like trying to get that momentum going.
Let's go.
If you're trying to get somewhere, you have to have a vision of where you want to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine you just get in the car and you're just like, I'm just going to drive. All right, but where?
Yeah.
And, like, there has to be these parameters that get you to a vision, right? So vision, what does the Bible say about vision?
What does the Bible say about vision?
Do you know what it says? It says that...
different interpretations?
It says that without vision, the people perish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think vision is one of those things that, like, we're entrepreneurs and we're, like, building this company. So we have to have a vision of where we want to take it in the next year, where we want to take it in the next 5 years. You know what I'm saying? But I think vision can also be something as simple as, hey, like in your personal life, like, where do you want to go with your relationship? Where do you want to go, like,
with your family?
Your family, whatever.
I mean, obviously, everyone has their own definition. But I think vision to me is more like following not just what you see, but what you foresee in the future. As in, you probably, let's say you're in a career of, let's say, accounting, and you know that as soon as you get your CPA, you can start your own thing, your own firm. So like that's like foreseeing the future. I don't have to see myself already having my own office, but as soon as I see my certificate, I know I'm gonna become, I'm gonna be in that next, level in my career. And so I think vision is just more like, what you already know that's gonna happen. And people, if you doubt your vision, then the vision won't come true. Like I feel like you gotta be all hands in or all in on your vision. You know what I mean? Whether that's corporately, individually, for your family, your wife.
I think vision is important because it keeps you motivated. You know what I mean? It's like there's like a goal, like in front of you, that you want to reach. So it's like it keeps you motivated. To keep working towards that, and yeah.
Yeah, okay. and like you were saying, like for example, an accountant, right? Well, before that, you have to go through the process of like, you graduate high school,
right?
You go to college, and then for some of y'all that might be in college or university, like you have to have a vision of, hey, this is where I'm aiming towards. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people that start college with no direction.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's a good point.
So they start with no direction. They start taking these classes, and then like 3 years, 4 years down the road, they want to change up their mind because they didn't have a vision. So then,
which is totally fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
but you waste time.
Yeah. And time is valuable.
And I didn't mean for that to rhyme. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I'm a writer at heart. So, but
and a rapper in spirit.
I
But
just don't have the rapper voice. Yeah, rap. But yeah, I think, like vision, right? And
yeah.
this is 2023. So this we started Bluswitch 2020, and in reality, Bluswitch had started like way before that. When I was born. I'm just kidding. I was born in this. I'm just kidding. But no, but in reality, like I remember when I was like 10 or 11, like I wanted to be a producer and have my own record label. I have a YouTube channel that's live. Like people can go find it. I'm not gonna say the name. I'll show y'all later. But I have a YouTube channel that I called something Productions at 10 years old, because one day I'm gonna start a label.
That's cool.
And then like I remember like I like recorded one song, and then there's a video.
Was it where you used to post like short movies?
Oh no, that's another channel. But there's one where Chris is in there.
I like that one.
If y'all find the channel, Chris is in the video whenever he was like 10 or 11.
Oh, I gotta see that.
So I'll show you in a little bit.
Wow, that's cool.
But like I remember that happened, right? And then I like downloaded Audacity. For those who know, Audacity is like the cheapest, like freest thing to record. And I remember like I would record. I like not knowing the concept of recording. I just was stacking sounds, and then like I started learning about video and all these things. Long story short, I think in like 2019, I was actually at Revive at Josh's church. Shout out
Revive, baby.
And Pastor Eddie. Shout out Pastor Eddie. He had given me a word, and like I won't go into the word, but he basically he prophesies what like had been in my heart for a long time, and what I felt at the time, like I was asking God to confirm. Right. So that was like in November. That led me in a journey to where like I was like, you know what? This is the year 2020, right? Before the whole pandemic happened. And then I remember Oscar, you guys know he's also part of the label. Shout out Oscar. Oscar, he kind of kept pushing me. He was like, hey, let's record. And let's record for like a year. And I think around the time I was like, everything was lining up and we started recording, and then we started doing this thing. And I remember, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because like at the time, I still have like it's a 2011 MacBook Pro, and like the cheap like Scarlett interface. No hate on Scarlett. They rock. They're dope. And I still have that same interface. You know what I'm saying? I remember like we started, bro. The quality was garbage, bro. It was trash, bro.
Let's not talk about that, but yeah.
But I remember like whenever we started, man, like there was this pure like genuine joy and passion when we would create. Like 3 people would listen, and we're like we would get this rush, this high of like, oh man, we got to keep creating. But like the vision started with what we have. And I think that's so important. I think this is kind of the recurring theme for the podcast. I guess that if you guys haven't noticed, like this is like the most like basic setup. These mics aren't even podcasting mics. Like this is a regular table that the youth uses. Like
this is a fake drink.
These are like we're trying to be like, oh, no sponsors. You can still see the sponsors. So but it's like the idea is like, hey, like if we wait on the perfect circumstances, like we're gonna keep waiting, right? You know what I'm saying? And Bluswitch would have still been this like afterthought. It would have been this hope, this dream, if we didn't take action, right? And it wasn't until I started taking action that like people were like, oh, like he's pushing the ball, like let me get on that ball. And that's how y'all two came along. I remember the first it was like we had been bringing out music maybe like 2-3 months or whatever, and I came to Josh and I was like, hey Josh, like hey,
no.
So I'm thinking about, hey, I'm doing this thing, like I'm trying to build a team. I would love for you to come on board and like, hey, like help me out. And then he said no.
Nah, I didn't.
He said no. And then I remember it was cool because like you were like, let me think about it. And it was like I could tell it was a no. But then like I think we dropped like maybe 2 songs later, and then I think it was Expectations that you that you saw, and you're like, oh, like nah, like I want to be a part of
that song, man.
I want to be a part of it. And then ever since, like, man, like you've nothing but added value to the team. And what's crazy is that like a couple months later, way later, Chris is a guitarist, so like I was helping him out with this board, and then I remember like while we were doing the thing, I was like, hey man, so like, have you heard our songs and everything? And he's like, what songs?
Yeah, I remember.
And I'm like, oh, from like our artist. What artist? He's like, oh, from our label. What label? I was like, yo, this dude.
Yeah, we'll get to know Christian, guys.
No,
Yeah.
but
That was like what, like 2 years ago?
yeah. So that was like
Last week.
that was towards, I think towards the end, almost the end of 2020. Like,
Yeah,
Was it was
man.
before the. Was it before the pandemic?
No, it was during the
No,
pandemic.
yeah,
During the pandemic, because then you started tracking for us towards the end of 2020 into 2021.
because I started during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was just funny to me because it was like, bro, like I'm out here promoting, I'm out here saying all these things, and then he just had no idea. But like at the same time, like you guys can share like what did you guys think about, like, for example, when I approached you or when I approached you, Chris, like of like what did you guys see, or did you guys just like, man, I have nothing else to do, like let me just waste my time or whatever.
I mean, I guess it was cool. I mean, when the first time I heard it, I mean, I know you told me if I knew about it, but you didn't tell me like, oh, you want to be part of the team or whatever, you know.
Mhm.
But once you told me, I mean, nah. Go ahead.
No, actually not. So I remember because at the time Chris was in school, and he was studying to be an audio engineer. So
Right.
in my mind, I'm like, oh, the paths are aligning perfectly, because I'm like, like we need an audio engineer. We need that little touch of like excellence and professionalism. Where like, okay,
I was just starting.
like how do we set up a mic? What equipment or all these things or
Yeah.
whatever that like that the value that you've been adding and stuff like that, you know. So I remember that like in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's perfect. Like it's lining up, like, you know.
Yeah, I was studying. I was going to school for that, but I didn't realize. I didn't know. I didn't expect, to be part of the team in the future or something like that.
Yeah, and I feel like God used that for the later season. That was good.
I mean, I kind of felt, well, because, you're my friend and everything. I was like, oh, that's cool, Maybe, I would like to be part of it.
But yeah, what about
But
you,
yeah,
Josh?
man, when you came to me and brought the idea and shared with me the idea of Bluswitch and what you guys are about and your vision and your mission and everything, I was like, that's cool. But obviously, as a married man, and every married man out there,
And future married man.
and future married man, hey, he's engaged, so.
Woo.
You're engaged too, bro?
To Jesus.
Where's your ring?
Shout out to Kim, by the way. She's the one that does all of our cover arts and
And makeup.
yeah. So
That's what's up. Shout out to Kim.
I love you.
But as a fellow, married man, you gotta think things through. Like, if you think about them before you do if you think before you do something, that's awesome. But if you're married, you gotta like X3 that. You know what I mean? Like, or
Jeez.
3X that, better say.
Yeah, because it's not just you. Like you're
Yeah.
you're a other person.
Yeah, and it doesn't just affect my schedule; it will affect my wife's schedule or my spouse schedule. So I'm like, all right, I know that if I commit myself, I'm one of those people that I don't like to. I don't want to be mediocre. Like, I want to, be all in, give you my very best. Obviously, if I don't see you put in work, then I won't put in as much work. But if I see the team, collaborating together with their hearts, with their passion, with everything they got, then you got me sold, and I'll give you my best, right? And so when you pitch me that idea or like the company and everything, I was like, all right, let me think about it. Let me pray. Praying is super important too,
Prayer. That's good.
because it's not just up to you, but maybe God wants to do something new in your life
Yeah.
and wants to introduce something new in your life because he knows that you're more than capable of overcoming. And so, I pray. I think it was for only a few days, a few weeks. I'm like, hey, you know what, David? Let's do it, bro. Let's do it. I love music. I consider myself a worshiper that happens to be a drummer. But I do love music. I grew up with my dad. My dad is a drummer. He would show me so many bands from the 80s, 70s. And so I'm like, man, you know what? I want to record my stuff one day. Right? And then, obviously, it's not just mine, but David's and the artists. So I'm like, let's do it, bro. And I saw how passionate he is and how he still is. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do it, bro. Like, I'll run with you.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? So, like, I blink and we're at 2023. You know what's crazy? Like I remember producing that first song.
You're
like,
engaged, bro.
I know, bro. That's crazy. That in itself is a
2
whole,
years ago.
that's a whole other story. But like
That's
I remember producing that first song
Yeah.
and then like being in love with the craft,
With the process.
with the process, not
It's like
knowing
a baby, bro.
yeah, like not knowing what it was gonna lead to, but just taking it one song at a time, taking it one project at a time, you know. And like they know, but those who don't know me, but those who know me, like will know that not only am I an extremist, but I'm a delusional optimist. Like, bro, I think the best and the best of the very best in the most like optimistic way, and like me ilusiono. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like, for example, like if you tell me, hey, we're gonna build a company, I'm like, it's gonna be the next Nike. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where my mind goes, right? It's like it's gonna be the next thing because like that's where I take it to, right?
Yeah.
And like
yeah.
and like it's funny because like in the process, like I mentioned, we didn't have any money. I literally just had like a
We still
computer,
don't, by the way.
like a 2011 computer. We had the cheapest mic, like and everything,
No AC.
bro, for real. But even then, like,
Wait, where? No AC. Where were you at?
bro, don't even, bro.
That-
That's,
one of the-
that's another
never mind,
podcast.
yeah.
That's another podcast. We'll title that one "No AC."
Stay
But-
tuned.
But like, I remember like that thought about we don't need money. You know what I'm saying? We have all we need. You know, and that kept being like a theme. Like, well, all we have is all we need. You know what I'm saying? And then like God would just kind of like provide these like little like
Nuggets.
nuggets. He would provide like a Chris. He would provide a Caesar, Jerson, a Edward. All these people that came down the road where like they were contributing and they were adding these little like things down the road. And now, you know, like we're still at the beginning. Like we haven't gotten it, but we're in a process where 3 years ago we were being faithful to what we could at the time.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is
and-
important.
Exactly. So one of the things is like all we have is all we need, right? So for those of you like maybe you don't know where you're going, or maybe you don't know where like, man, I don't know what my future holds. All you have is all you need. And even like Josh was mentioning, and I think like Chris is like an adamant of this too, like praying about something, that's also a good step.
Yeah.
Where like I don't know what to do. Well, pray. Like
Yeah.
I mentioned in 2019, like I was praying. So in 2019, I remember I was praying for direction because I was having a midlife crisis at the age of 21, whatever, 22.
Which is not normal.
where
but-
I was like, well,
Yeah,
like I
not
mentioned, like I'm
normal.
an extremist. So in my mind, like I don't know where I'm going. I have no, you know, like my mind takes it to the most extreme. Like that's it. Like I'm practically dead. Like all these things. But I remember praying like God, like take me somewhere. I want to,
Hey.
and praying this prayer. But the prayer is all I had at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember like
But it's all you need.
that's all you need. And then that'll lead and that'll preach on itself.
Yeah. You know what? You know, I think sometimes we get like so desperate to get there, like so young. But you gotta take it slow. You know what I mean?
Bro,
Because he said he was having a midlife crisis at what,
22.
22? Bro, some people are like 30 and they're right there. You know what I mean?
Jeez. You see what I mean?
So,
That's
This
true,
guy,
man.
bro.
Like
Bars, bro.
people want to make as much as a 40-year-old when they're 20. I'm like, dude, chill.
yeah, like,
And that's very important, Chris. I'm so glad you brought that up because that's me. Like I'm the one that I'm like, I'm gonna be a trillionaire by the age of 24, and like I'm 25 and I don't even have 1,000. No, I'm just kidding. You know, like that's the type of like desperacy that I have. But I think sometimes it's good because like me da la urgencia. You know what I'm saying? Like I get the urgency of like I need to be doing something. I need to be trying to get to the next step.
yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what led us here. Where like, excuse me, that's kind of what led us here. Where I'm like, you know what, we're gonna start making music, and the next thing is we're gonna start making content and all these things or whatever, right? But I think that's a really good point. Where like the process, the journey, is all part of the process.
Yeah, the
Because imagine this. Imagine like you see like David in the Bible. Oh, he's king.
That-
Well,
Sometimes that's all people see, bro. Or they
sheesh.
choose to see.
Exactly. But like the process
Yeah.
is where God was molding David.
Yeah.
God was like forging his character. He was taking things out of his life. He was weeding things out of his life. In the process, like I mentioned, like the songs were garbage. Like at the time, I would have like given my whole life and be like, nah, like this is the best music, like because it was so close and so dear. But as the time went on, like, you know, like we've been putting in our 10,000 hours, so the music is getting way better now. Like you hear it, and people are like, it's funny because people tell me, oh, like I'm so glad that you're upgrading the equipment, like the mics y'all buying. And it's like, yeah, you know, but it's like it's the same thing we've been using.
We just got AC.
Now we're just maximizing what we have.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I believe like we're making industry quality level music with like entry level barrier equipment because that's all we need. Obviously, like I would love to have like the best interface. Like right now we're recording on 2 computers because we don't have enough channels,
and two interfaces.
But it's like, hey, like God is like allowing for us to like go through this process because man, like making music, creating with y'all is the best. You know what I'm saying? But the process is so important. Another version of how this whole Bluswitch thing could have gone is that I could have just like worked a normal job, raised $10,000, bought the equipment, and we would have probably still been waiting. You know what I'm saying? And all that learning, all that process of like, how do we write a song? How do we produce this? How do we mix that? How do we market? How do we distribute? How do we get royalties? All these things we wouldn't have learned on the way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we probably wouldn't be doing this podcast right now, and I would still be like trying to raise funds, like
right,
whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think it's the journey that's so important. You know?
Yeah, and
for sure.
you know, and it's like a marathon, dude, or like, let me put it this way, because I recently got a new engine. You know, your engine needs to be running. You know, you can't have your cars parked in your garage or your parking lot or your driveway for months or even years. You gotta use it.
Because what happens if you just leave it there unused?
Well, your dad's a mechanic. I don't know much, but I mean,
I don't know either.
I don't know what
was
happens,
hoping
but yeah, it won't work or it won't turn on. So you gotta start somewhere, right? And I feel like also obviously you can't have two different poles. Like if you start with something and that's all you have, go for it. But then if you have the opportunity to advance or move on or upgrade, do it. Take the window, you know, of opportunity, because like those windows, those opportunities don't come often. They're only presented to you once in a lifetime, or to some never, which is very unfortunate. And so like I feel like, you know, that's part of growing too.
Yeah.
And so a vision has to be of a process, first in you, then your surrounding, but also being able to adapt. I love soccer. I'm Argentine, obviously, world champs. Thank you. There's a and that's right. And we're gonna sing it in a different podcast or show. There's a coach that said this one phrase which is stuck in my head, and like I'm gonna use it for life. He said, "The only way that you can win a tournament, let me rephrase it. The only way that you can win in life is learning how to adapt to your surroundings."
That's good.
You know, obviously you can establish your own atmosphere, your own surroundings, your own settings, but sometimes you gotta adapt to whatever place you're in. And if you're starting a company or a business or your career, you gotta learn how to adapt, because that's also part of growing. You know, it's gonna hit your pride, it's gonna hit your ego. Who cares? Because like you wanna grow. If you wanna grow that bad, then you need to surrender first. You know what I mean? I love the song "Touch the Sky" by Hillsong United, where she says, "I touch the sky when my knees hit the ground." You know what I mean?
Oh, that's good.
Like I feel like surrenderance is crazy, bro.
Wow.
And learning how to adapt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Like, wait, vision is what gives you direction, but the process and the discipline is what takes you there.
Discipline, bro.
Bro, I remember when I was younger, I think I was like 13 or 14, I heard this quote that to this day, like I quote it because I love it. It says, the quote goes, "Develop the discipline today that's going to be demanded of you tomorrow."
Yeah.
So how can we expect to be like entrepreneurs
Right.
in the future if we don't have the discipline today that entrepreneurs need to get there? You get me?
Yeah.
It's like people want to ball out like millionaires when they don't have millions, so they don't get to be millionaires. Millionaires have to go through a process of like building and like being disciplined, and some, eating like maruchans all the way to get there.
No.
Bro, there's many YouTubers that I follow that are millionaires now. Well, you know, and I'm like, and they tell their story. They share the testimony of how poor they were or they lived. Because one thing is being poor, and one thing is living poor, like a poor person.
Another thing is thinking poor.
Poor mentality, being bound to poverty.
Bro, that's a whole other podcast. But
We're set free, thank you, Lord.
yes, Lord. but that's good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the process is what like will weed out like all the things that in the future are gonna take away. For example, like in the process of like starting this, like we had to learn what worked, what didn't work.
Right.
Like this marketing strategy did not work. This song did not work.
Yeah.
This like way we went about recording specific things did not work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That otherwise we wouldn't like get to learn, or we would have to like really like nos costaría más in the future. You know what I'm saying? And then we're developing things right now that like it's like there is no blueprint to what we're going, but we have to have the discipline to like go through it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where it's like I want to have a 6-pack, and in the name of Jesus, I'm gonna have a 6-pack. But like I can't undercut the process of like, well, how's my diet? How's my training? How's my regimen? I know Chris right now is bulking. If y'all don't see him, that boy got
I ain't seen none.
some registered
see that.
pistols on him.
You want me to go back to the gym, boy?
Nah, but it's hard. It's hard to gain weight to bulk, bro. It's hard.
Yeah. And yeah, but still, it's a process. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
discipline, like you were saying.
Yeah. Bro, discipline. It's a whole other podcast that I want to get into. But really quick, so I remember, like, in like starting this, whatever, I had like I think like God revealed to me a specific passage at the time, right, where it's in Habakkuk. Habakkuk. Those. I say it in Spanish, bro. Those of y'all grew up in Spanish, like church. Y'all understand, like
Alabaré.
you read these like books of the Bible and you just want to say them in Spanish.
Dang.
But like the context of that part, like God is telling this prophet, "Hey, I want you to write down the vision on a tablet, not on like a iPad, but like on a tablet or on a board." He says, "I want you to write this vision on it so clear, so concise, so precise that I can hand it to some stranger, they can read it and they know exactly what the vision is."
Right.
And a problem with a lot of people, sometimes they don't have a clear vision. They don't have clarity on the vision, which is like a whole other thing. Which, for example, like I know that we want to be a multi-billion-dollar company.
Amen.
I said company, right? If I don't have clarity that we're going to be a production company, that we're going to be a record label, that we're going to make movies, we're going to make songs, then we're just going to be aiming in the dark. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to be like, well, we don't know where to go. But having a clear vision and how we get there is just as important. You get me? For example, Chris, you want to bulk up.
Yeah.
But if you don't know how much you weigh and what you need to get to, you're like, well, I think I just need to get to 2,000 pounds. Yeah, like
2000.
like if we don't have like clarity on the vision, and that means doing your research.
I haven't
That
weighed it
means-
myself, but
that means
I gotta weigh myself.
that means praying. That means like understanding the industry that you're going to, understanding the lane that we're going into.
Yeah.
Because even though like building a record label has been done, we're building our own lane. You know, like we're gonna be our own unique label. We're gonna have our own unique impact. We're gonna have our own unique like set of skills and like set of uniqueness.
I think it's important to have a clear vision, because sometimes we have like different things we wanna like take over, that we don't focus on one thing, you know. So we gotta like focus on one thing. So you know we gotta follow that first, and then we can focus on different things.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, there's I watch a lot of videos, and there's this businessman that was given a course about how to start your own business, and he's like, you know what? All my life I just wanted to sell triangles, let's say, but then I ended up selling squares, and I figured that squares were better than triangles to me, profit wise, you know, everything, revenue, everything, you name it. So he's like, if there's a fork on the road, don't like don't hesitate on or like don't just stay in the middle. Go just take a route, you know. Take just go one way. Obviously you can do both. But like I feel like, you know, clarity is gonna give you all those things. It's gonna give you a better insight of things too. If you have clarity, not only you can see things, but you can feel them. You know, people say, "Oh, well, don't go with your gut feeling." I go with my gut feeling most of the time because I feel like it could be attached to my spirit and the Holy Ghost, and also your instinct. So, like, if you have clarity, and if you have conviction, which people sometimes they don't use the word conviction like it should be. Like conviction, when people mention conviction, they think about sinning or, you know, all these things, or like getting saved. But conviction is just having or being confident in what you're gonna do, like knowing that what you're doing is that one thing, and that's it. Conviction. Yeah. And I get that from sports because, again, I love soccer. So like I hear coaches say, hey, we had conviction in playing with this system, with having these tactics throughout the game. So we had conviction of what we're doing.
Like a strong assurance.
Yeah, strong assurance. And like, but I like convicción, you know, the word conviction. And so clarity would give you that. Yeah. Well, actually, if you have conviction on what you're doing, then your clarity is going to be way better. Conviction
is such a good word because the way that I equate it, or the way that I feel it, is almost as this feeling of this urge, this feeling of guilty if I'm not doing it type of thing, right? So I use conviction in the sense, for example, let's apply it to the company. Where like I always feel this conviction of, for example, we start a song, and I have the conviction that I need to finish it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And by that I mean is that like I go to sleep, and in my mind I'm solving the problems in my sleep. I'm like, okay, I need to raise the drums, I need to lower the vocals, I need to do this.
Because, true story, guys. True story.
I have this conviction that I just want to finish it, and I want to like steward it the best way. Oftentimes, if you feel a conviction towards something, maybe that's where the vision is heading. That's where like for example, we all felt this like pull and tug towards music, and like we want to make music, and our conviction is that we want to make like an impact through the music. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I like rambling or like?
No, it's fine. But obviously, and then some people in the comment section, hey, comment, like the video, everything.
Hey, everything.
Thumbs up.
Subscribe.
Hit the notification bell. Let's go. I watched so many videos. I feel like, you know, they're like, well, hold up. You know, people might say, hold up. Well, if you need to have conviction, then that means you're gonna live and die, and that's with that same system. And no, it means that what you're currently doing, you're gonna be convinced of that. You know what I mean? Ooh. But then you're willing to adapt for a new system to come in place, and you run with that. You know. Yeah. For example, I don't know. Let's say, okay, my wife, she does marathons. Shout out to Stephanie Aragon, love you.
Shout out, Steph.
Bet she's an accountant, so hey, what's up? She does marathons, right? Which are so annoying because if you don't run, I don't like running. I play soccer, but I hate running. Anyway,
how does that go together,
bro? Hey, if you have talent, you don't need to run that much like Messi. Boy, Messi, war champ, baby. Let's go. So my wife, she tells me, she's like, hey, after 6 months, I need to get new running shoes. I'm like, why? Why are you spending money like that? Because those shoes are, let me tell you, man, those shoes are expensive, bro.
Shout out Nike. Sponsors.
Please. And she's like, yeah, I need to get new shoes because they wore out. They wore off. Or they wore out. Yeah, my bad. And so I need to get new shoes. If not, I can be prone to injury, you know? Oh, wow. And so I feel like, yes, have conviction of what you're doing, but also, I mean, only for a season. With that system, then be willing to adapt to a new system, you know?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, like the vision and the conviction and everything, I think everything works
so good.
Everything works aligned, and the adapting is like your discipline and your compromise. Well, I want to wrap up with this. I think we can give a word of encouragement and like,
beautiful. Yeah.
And I think we can encourage everybody that maybe feels lost because at a time in a season, I think we can all connect to the fact that we felt lost, or we
Yeah.
felt maybe we had no direction. Maybe we felt that we had no vision. You know, I'll start off and then you guys just trickle in, right? I believe like what was like a breaking point for me, or what was like a breakthrough for me, is like starting to get clear. Like I told you, I read Habakkuk, those, where like the vision had to be so clear, you know, where like that took months. I had to define like, well, God, what do you want from me? I had to like collect and analyze my repertoire that is my life, and be like, well, like, bro, I've spent so much of my life learning music, learning this. These are the skills and assets that I've had. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that God like put all that. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that at 10 or 11, I wanted to start a record label. At 10 or 11, like I completely forgot.
That's crazy, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like that just tells me that God was aligning the path. You know what I'm saying? And then me desvié to learn other things like video. I learned other things, and now all these like skills compiled. I'm like, oh, like I think God is perfect in his purpose and in his plan. So like I had to go through a process, right, where I had to, like, I'm trying to find the word. It's like analyzing and just reflect or whatever, right?
That's good.
But that's my word of encouragement. Like if you guys feel lost or directionless, like gather your what are you good at? What are some things that you know that you can bring a value to? But yeah.
Nah, I think patience is very important though.
Yeah.
Like you gotta wait.
Jeez,
like,
that's a word. That's good.
Now you just gotta be patient. You gotta wait because once you start working on something, you want to finish it like straight away, or you want it to be perfect. But it might not be perfect, but you know it's a start. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean just be patient.
That's really good.
And yeah, I guess wait. Yeah.
I think that's a word that I could have used.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's crazy. No, and like tagging with what you're saying, Christian. I call you Christian, man. I can't call you Chris. I don't know why. I feel like sometimes people feel that since they don't have any new idea or any innovation at the moment, it's because they suck or they're not doing anything. And no, like probably God is telling you to be still, because being still is totally different from not doing anything.
That's good.
And so you gotta be still sometimes. Last night I was reading a post from one of the singers from Hillsong United. I forgot his name. He's the dude with the like super long hair, the one that sings "So Will I." He said that he just finished a song that was actually written or started off being written 10 years
10
ago.
years ago I saw that.
With 7 different artists, bro,
That's
or
writers, yeah.
songwriters.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm like, bro, if this dude waited 10 years, bro, like the fact that probably I may not have anything in a week is nothing, bro. Like, let's not magnify things that are insignificant. You know what I mean? Like, for real. Like, God has given you all the talent, all the gifts, all the skills to do great and amazing things, and you will. But I think your mind, you gotta set a tone to be like, okay, maybe I didn't hit the mark today, but tomorrow's a new day, and tomorrow I can double it up. You know, tomorrow I can do twice as good. So patience is awesome. Being still is great, and also enjoy the moment, man. Like,
that's good.
you know, if you love something and you're able to do it, you have the blessing and the blessing of doing it. Then props to you, man, female. Like, you're doing something that you love when there's so many people, millions of people in the world that have devastating jobs, 9-to-5 jobs or 16-hour shifts that they wish they wouldn't do, but they have to because of need to provide for their families and stuff like that. But if you are at home and you're able to work in something that you you love your job and you're doing things that you love, and man, go for it. Then enjoy the moment. Like, enjoy the fact that you're doing what you love, because not everyone gets that opportunity. We do. I mean, thank God we're doing what we love. I love music. I love creating music. I feel like music is art given by God. I feel like we're like stars. You know, we produce sound, and we can just bring a new a new light to people, a new hope to people, and we can reach at least one person that no one else has reached before, and just impact that person and love on that person and show them that what, life is way more than what you can even imagine, can even grasp. And so that's my encouragement. You got this. We're with you. And if you feel like talking to one of us, reach out to us.
Yeah, so that's really good. So just to recap these things is, I found the word I was looking for. Is assess. Like, assess what you have. Like, see what skills you have, see what value you can bring. Be patient in the process, and don't forget to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's a
Well
great
said.
takeaway. I don't have a sign-off yet. We'll probably figure it out as we go. But you guys make sure to stream the music. I think when this podcast comes out, I think tomorrow or sometime this week, Teo's first song of 2023
Let's go.
will drop. So y'all stay tuned for that. Go help my boy Teo out. And yeah,
What's his Instagram?
I am Teo Ayala. We have a link in the bio
Oh, gotcha.
where like they can go get all that. So yeah. And if you're a sponsor who wants to sponsor us and give us some money, and we'll pray for you in return, reach out. All right. Peace.
See ya.